Nissan has proven itself with the Patrol and the Pathfinder. There's a lot more that the brand has to offer, being in the Middle East for the longest time. The Nissan Kicks is a beautiful new car that's been introduced for the 2024 version. Turns out to be the best crossover that Nissan has to offer at a very interesting price point. And this is also one of a lot of people's first ever car that they drive on. This is going to be a detailed video on what to expect on the car for a full exterior detailing. We talk about everything that the car has to offer, a lot of interior tweaks that Nissan has done for 2024, and overall the driving experience that this car has to offer. Stay tuned as we go in for a detailed review on this car. Now on the Nissan Kicks, this is not a luxury car by any means, but that does not mean it does not have the amount of tech that you would expect from a car like this. Right on the front, you see it's got all the latest Nissan stuff that's going on, and the first clue is the 2024 logo that you get over here. You have these very nicely designed honeycomb grills that helps cool the engine down. And what's interesting to also see is the chrome treatment that Nissan has put on over here. Not only do you have these beautiful V-shaped chromes, but you also have a chrome lip over here. It gives the car a slightly bigger look than the car that actually is. Nissan hasn't shied away from adding the latest generation of technology that's gone into this car, and that's the way it's done. You've got all LED headlights and you've got LED fog lights as well. At the price point that this car comes in, it's very interesting to see Nissan put in all of those safety features and all the latest tech that you can see on the latest models coming into the base variant that this car has to offer. That's a very interesting piece of tech. It might be the cheapest Nissan that you can buy, but that does not mean you don't get the tech that Nissan is known for. Right here you have 17-inch diamond cut rims on this, which is also something interesting to note. Diamond cuts are usually found on premium vehicles, but you get those on that. Adding on to the side to break character, it's got a dual tone look. So you got the body color, which is blue. You've got the dual tone that's over here. Adds a little bit more to the floating range that the car has to offer. And of course, you also get some very interesting things such as touch, close and lock. So if you have to lock and unlock the car, you can do that as you would with any other Nissan that you can. What is really interesting is you also get a shark fin antenna at the back to give it a really premium look. And you also have a very small built-in spoiler as well. Spoiler might not be the most functional spoiler that we've seen, but it's there to sort of complete the whole look. Carry forward from the previous generation as the same tail light that you would get from the previous generation, but now it has a lot of LED clusters into it, which really adds to the modern amenity that this car has to offer. This kind of reminds me of the previous generation of Nissan Juke. If you've seen those cars, this kind of reminds me of those as well. So something to keep in mind. Of course, you've got the Nissan Kicks branding over here, and at the back as well, if you look at the whole section, it's beautifully designed. And what I really like is how all of these thirds are broken down. So it's not just a single boring slab that you would see in the previous generation of Nissans. Like I said, you actually have a spoiler over here. You have a vertical breaker over here that differentiates this entire section with the all-new Nissan logo. And you also have this strip now, which differentiates between the top and the bottom. And you also have the third brake light that's over here. And what's really interesting is you also have these sport diffusers that are on this car. That looks nice. I can see a lot of people putting a carbon fiber on this just to sort of make the whole look, but that's something that you get from the factory. Of course, you get parking sensors all across, so you have all the parking sensors over there. And the car also has 360-degree cameras to aid in your driving performances. From the outside, it's a refreshing change to see the 2024 Nissan Kicks really live up to its name. And while you do compromise on space a little bit, the car has all the tech and glory that you need from the outside. Let's jump into the interiors and see what creativity Nissan has put in to make this interior worth the car. The host of things on the interior that the Kicks has to offer, which is worth talking about. Now, as soon as you enter in, you see you have the familiar Nissan interface over here. You've got this 2024 new design, flat bottom steering wheel that you get over here with the big prominent Nissan logo. And what I really like is the look and feel of all of these buttons and how tactile they are. So very clearly laid out. Cruise control is on the right, so when I'm cruising down the highway, it's very easy for me to turn these around, and all your media controls sit on the left. The one thing which you might need to get used to is if you have to change songs. Earlier I would just press this button over here because that's what we're all used to, but it's actually the lower buttons over there and the back menu is over here. So initially when I got the car, I would keep trying to change the music from this, but the buttons are actually here and the volume is here. Once you do get used to it, it's something to get very comfortably get by with. What I'm very interested to see over here is there is a half LED system over here as well. So you've got half which is digital and the other half which is diagonal. Now this entire screen over here at the moment is showing me my RPMs, my range, the temperature outside, and all the safety systems over there as well. Using this button, I can change it to show the current music that I'm listening to, or if I want to look at what my current fuel economy is, or if I want to look at any other information as well. So this is a very interactive system menu that has been coming over here, and that really makes way for what the driver aids of the car has to offer. All across over here, you'll see very good use of materials. What's interesting also to see is this deep brown leather and the soft touch on the top of the dashboard that's coming over here as well. So it really adds a little more premium look to the car than what you can feel, and this is a pretty nice soft touch leather as well. Now this is the center screen. This is where you control all the media on the car, and what's really interesting is that you still get a volume knob. So the volume temperature, the volume up and down is actually from this knob over here. There's no buttons around it, thank God. Music selection is on this side, and it's good to see a 360-degree camera that's coming in on this car. As you can see, it's covering everything around it, and it also gets these maneuvering lines as well, which is coming in over here as well. Now this is a very small car. You wouldn't expect this to have a 360-degree camera, but Nissan has put it over there, and that's something very interesting. Is it's designed towards brand new drivers, and it's great to have this kind of tech over here as well. The device also plays Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so connectivity is extremely seamless, and overall the design has a very good feel that even during extreme sunshine and broad daylight, there is no flicker, and you can see the designs lay out pretty well brightly. Now this is where you control the heating, ventilation and air conditioning system in the car. What I really love is these buttons. They have a little bit of a rubber section over there, so setting the temperature and setting the fan speed is something that's very easy to do, and extremely well laid out buttons that I can see over here between the on off, the defoggers and the circulation over here as well. One thing to keep in mind is this is a piece of glass, and it is prone to certain amount of scratches using nails or scratches, so that's something just to keep in mind of. Now what's sitting below that is also a lot of interesting stuff. You have your traditional cigarette lighter, you have a USB to B charger, and you have an aux output as well in case you want to put some music out there, and you also get a wireless charger. So right over here where you normally keep your phone, there is a wireless charger that you can charge your phone wirelessly. It's not the fastest, but it's there. You also get an auto hold feature on this car and the electronic power brake as well. The gear lever, and obviously not to mention the start stop function, is right in the center over here as you'd expect. The gear lever is a very small slot over here which gives you the park, reverse, neutral and drive. You do have drive and low ratio gearing. You can't have manual selection of the gears, and obviously this is Nissan, so once you put the head down, the shifting and everything else is extremely smooth as you would expect from this car. Another point to keep in note is this section over here is also piano black plastic, and this is also prone to a lot of scratches, so that's something to keep in mind when you're buying this car. And let's not forget the build quality that's over here with this contrast stitching really adds to the premium nature that this car has to offer for its users. Now the back of the car is going to be slightly tricky because, as you'd expect, there's not a lot of space, but there is enough to make it worth talking about. This seat is at its normal position where I have it, and I usually have my seats a little back, and you can see I have a decent amount of knee room over here and substantial amount of headroom while I'm sitting at the back over here as well. What you do like at the back is you don't get any vents on the back, so there are no vents that's cooling you down. However, the front air vents are pretty strong enough to give you air all the way to the back, so you do have that as well. You do get two USB charging points at the back to charge your phones. They're both USB-Bs, you don't get USB-Cs on that one. And you also get the power window switch and a nice chrome finish on the door latch opener over here as well. Having said all of that stuff, while storage might not be a big concern over here, the other thing that you lack is there is no center armrest support over here. On the normal cars, you could drop this down and this becomes your center armrest support, but on this one, unfortunately, that isn't the case. What do you do with passengers that travel with a bag? There's no space to put them over here. The rear parcel shelf comes in handy over here as well. It's got a built-in parcel shelf at the back that can hold 2 to 3 bags comfortably at the back. So the stuff that you don't want to store over here can go at the back, so make sure you're more comfortable on your drives. Talking about the back, let's see how much storage we have at the back and see what kind of storage we look at. But before we go, you might have noticed this headrest is black in color while the other is regular. This also has a Bose branding. That's because on this car, the driver gets the individual Bose performance systems. And what that is it's a speaker system that is integrated right at the back of your headrest, and you have the options to go for either a dynamic range or a stereo range as well. And this is powered by Bose, so this entire head unit has a speaker inside it, and that gives you extremely good audio clarity all across. The only problem is this is only for the driver, not for the passenger, no one for the back. This is only for the driver, but it's quite an interesting system that Nissan has put into it. Let's see what the boot space has to offer. So that's everything that you'd get on the back seats. Now let's talk about what you get on the trunk. Now this is not a big SUV, so let's not expect a lot of trunk storage, but there is some amount of storage as well. The trunk is not powered, so to open it, you just got to press a button over here. The trunk sort of lifts up a little bit, and then you've got to manually lift up the whole trunk, and then automatically it goes up over there. Very decent amount of storage for the size of the car that it has to offer. You can easily put in one large suitcase and maybe one small suitcase over here. But for a normal city commute, you wouldn't want anything that's more than this as well. Only thing that I miss over here is the power tailgate, as the car doesn't get a power tailgate and you have to manually sort of close that down as well. So while you're looking for a car that's economical to run, that is feature packed and something that you can drive on an everyday basis, Nissan Kicks is something that you should definitely worth considering. More such videos, make sure you follow us on YouTube, like this video and let us know any specific car you want us to review, or if you missed out something on this, on the comments. See you in the next one.